How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Dead Jester Productions podcast, episode number 192. I'm your host, Josh, or J Moskers, joined this week by special guest FPN Norway. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. It's an honor, and I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you taking the time to be here, man. Really happy to have you here. I'm excited. I held us up a little bit. We're running a little late because of me, technical issues on my part, so I apologize. But I'm very excited to chat with you for a bit. Why don't you tell people a little bit about what it is you do? You're a rapper, singer, music producer. Tell people a little about what it is you have going on.
Okay, first thing, I go by the name of FPN Norway, if they know, and I'm Brazilian. I'm from Brazil, and I'm a rapper, singer, music producer. I compose, I write songs, I record songs, and I do all that stuff when it comes to music. And I've been doing it for 2 years, 3 years now, and it's been a while, and it's been good. It's been good so far. um I have a few projects on my horizon, but I'm focusing on my music right now, and making my art, creating, and I think that that's pretty much what I'm doing. So I'm just focusing on my music, and focusing developing myself as an artist, and developing myself as a creative artist, as a singer, and that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. I have to ask because I've never spoken to someone from Brazil before. Uh, Being from America, we have this idea that there's an idea that goes around that Brazil is incredibly focused on football or soccer. Is it as part of the culture as people make it out to be?
So soccer is very popular in my country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not only for the main team, but the national teams too.
Mm-hmm.
And people love soccer in here. Not only soccer, we love all sports, but
Yeah.
soccer is very, very popular. Um, and yeah, that's not a wrong idea. Soccer
Okay.
is really a sport that, I saw my grandparents watching soccer on TV, my father watching soccer on TV,
Okay.
and it's something that you you get to talk about at school. So it's a very common topic, and it's very popular over here.
Okay. Yeah, there's the idea around here where people talk like how people from Brazil, everyone knows how to play. Everyone's like has the experience playing it. I didn't know if that was actually the case or not. Because like where I'm from, specifically where I'm from in the U.S., it's not very popular at all. There are places in the U.S. where it's popular, but if you want to like actually get involved in it to an extent, it's very expensive.
So I see what you're saying,
Mhm.
and it's not that everyone in here knows how to play soccer
Yeah.
or knows how to play well.
Mhm.
And I take myself for example. I'm not a good soccer player, but I played soccer at school and when I was younger. But not everybody is good at it. But it's a
Yeah.
very common topic. It's a subject that everybody talks about, and people root for their teams, and
Mhm.
they go watch the games. It's very good. Um, but it's not like everyone knows how to play well or everyone is good at it. I'm not good at it, and a lot of people aren't either. But yeah, I think you got it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I was just curious. Like I said, it's not often I get the opportunity to speak to someone that comes from Brazil, so it was something I wanted to ask. But getting back to the topic on hand is your music. You said you have a new album coming out in January called Dark Desires. I wanted to touch on that. Before we get there, though, I wanted to ask how it is you actually got into music and what just made you decide to spend so much time focusing on it and making something out of it for yourself.
Yeah. So I always say that I music is part of my life since I was very young.
Mhm.
Not hip hop, but music overall. And I got to study music since I was like 8 or 9 years old. I was taking piano classes, and then after that, I learned how to play the drums, and I also had singing classes. And I was always involved with music. And about 2009, 2010, I was like, I was watching TV. I was watching music videos on TV, and I was seeing Eminem, I was seeing Lil Wayne, and all those rappers that were doing their thing back then. They were they were all over the place. And I fell in love with hip hop. I used to watch them, and I used to think, man, I wish I could do something like this one day. I wish I could create like that one day. And it was like inspiring, but not just inspiring, it was something new. And I was learning about it, and I fell in love with it. And I said, man, I wish I could make that someday. I wish I could record. I wish I could rap. I didn't know how I would do it. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't know if it would even be possible. I had no idea how to do it. But, a few years later, I started to find out how to. And I ended up in here as I am currently. But I think I was very young when I started to introduce myself to music. And but the hip hop thing, it's not when I was young. It's like a few years when I was seeing those artists, and I was like being inspired, and I was seeing them as models in music, and I was astonished with what they were doing back then.
Yeah.
And this was always amazing to me. You see, I used to listen to those artists, and I listen to them nowadays, and they are still amazing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think it's love, man, because uh, I love all kinds of music. I'm not saying I don't like other types of music. I listen to pop. I listen to other styles, but hip hop, it's special. It's
Yeah.
something that touched me as soon as I got to know it. And that's how I got here, and that's how I raised myself in music. And I think it's something I'm proud of and I'm happy about.
Nice. How much? So when I was in school, we had music class. It was just called music class, and it was we did we used they taught us how to like play the recorder, the flute instrument, the windpipe instrument, and then we would learn about like very old classical compose like Mozart for example, like Bach, and it didn't really seem super relevant to like current day like music. Did you have like actually like when you were in school, did they have classes as well where it was just teaching about like really old composers and things like that, or did you actually have like modern music instruction?
Yeah. So I have to talk about how schools work over here, because we have private schools and we have the public schools,
Hmm.
and they are a little bit different when it comes to the subjects they teach.
Okay.
And some schools teach a little some schools teach things that other schools don't. The basics they all teach, but the private schools, the more expensive they are, they have extra. And sometimes they teach music.
Yeah.
uh, I didn't learn music at school. I was
Okay.
learning music out of school, like in
Mhm.
music schools, out of the traditional school.
Okay.
Because as I was telling you, my mom will make me go to music classes
Mhm.
and learn piano. So I wasn't learning about uh, history of music or music
Yeah.
history. But I was learning about instruments, at least the
Okay.
basic about it. But I think that, learning about music history is important to, like, knowing those artists you mentioned, like Mozart. I think the thing is, it's not that they aren't relevant. In my opinion, they're still relevant, but
Hmm.
it was a different time. Like, we have
Definitely.
the
Yeah.
music, we have our modern music, and maybe in 50 years this won't be the music people will be hearing anymore, because we got time, and we got the ages, and things change. So I wouldn't say that our music is not relevant, and I won't say that the music from the past is not relevant. I think it's something that was from that time. It was
Mhm.
relevant in that time,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's part of how music evolve. How musicians learn, and how the culture changes and adapts. And I think that's part of the process.
Yeah, definitely. Like the when you go back and you listen to the different, time periods of music, it definitely reflects the mood of the time, and it's an expression of how the people were feeling at that time. A lot of the times, at least. Even like songs that like children sing. If you listen to some of them, like children, like, I don't. I mean, it might be different depending on where you live, like what country and things like that. But I know like some of the songs children sing like around here are like just normal happy children's songs. But then they have like "Ring Around the Rosie," and that's a song about the Black Plague. It's like stuff like that where they talk about having to like, they say ashes, ashes, they all fall down, and it's just talking about having to burn the bodies because everyone had the plague, and you realize how dark and sad that is. But
Yeah,
the
yeah.
kids don't get it, when they're children. But yeah, stuff like that. I know you mentioned like learning the piano. Did you ever have? I don't. Maybe you have since then. But have you ever had the drive to just learn as many instruments as you could?
um I always wanted to learn to how to play instruments, and I I didn't learn all the instruments I wanted to.
Okay.
Uh, Actually, I always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, but
Mhm.
I never could.
That was the first
And
thing how to play. Yeah.
no, it's not because I haven't tried, because I did,
Mm.
and it's because I don't have the skills. Just my fingers and my hands, it won't work. But I tried it a few times, and yeah, man. Maybe one day I'll learn how to play the guitar,
There's
but
always time. Yeah.
yeah, I still feel like I can learn a few instruments, and I can learn how to play them,
Hmm.
but everything in the due time.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned guitar when I was, I don't know, maybe 8 years old, something like that. I can't remember. It's been so many years. Um, so like now I have an acoustic guitar. I have an electric guitar. We have a piano. I have a didgeridoo from Australia, and then I have a shamisen, which is like a guitar from Japan. It's like a Japanese uh, string instrument. It looks sort of like a guitar, but it has three strings.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was what would have been 3 years ago during COVID. Like when we were all at home, we weren't allowed to go anywhere. I ordered the didgeridoo and the shamisen, and I learned how to play them because I would play them on stream for people.
I see.
It was
Uh,
not easy.
I can imagine. And this, you mentioned that COVID time,
Mhm.
and you know, uh, I think that was a time that made all of us that were staying home and trying to be safe
Mhm.
to think about something to do and new things to learn.
Yeah.
And that was a time, that was a time for my music to develop.
Hmm.
because I also took a time to learn a few things about music, especially music production,
Yeah.
and uh, those were crazy days, but thank God we made it.
Yeah.
And I think that we could we learned something, and I mean, not just as musicians or
Mhm.
instrument, I mean, as human beings. Like, there was a time of pain, of course. I lost people. I think most people did too. But we had a chance to develop ourselves as human beings, watching the situation, watching what was going on, and you know, those were crazy days, man. But I think that it's like that symbol. I don't know. It's yin yang, something like that.
Hmm.
Uh, from bad times, you also learn something that will be good for you, and that will be
Yeah.
good for our evolution. Yeah,
Yeah, it was interesting. You said, everyone tried to learn something. Like I was learning how to do a lot of the work here at home for, Dead Jester Productions in general, learning how to run a business, how to reach out to people, to create content with, 'cause I mean, what I do for my actual job is contacting people and working with strangers. So I was already good at, meeting new people, but I had never done it in a way that I was trying to work with other content creators and, people online to make content. I was normally just selling them something or working on something with them, as far as like a business goes. So it was different. But then, I learned how to, you know, make it so my stream was better, our YouTube was better and everything like that. And then on top of that, all the
yeah,
instruments. So it was, yeah, it was kind of crazy. And unfortunately, outside of that, there's a lot of people that didn't learn anything either at home or just in general. You would hope that going through it and watching, everyone, like not everyone, but so many people going through loss, people passing away and everything like that. You would
yeah,
hope they'd learn something about how to treat people nicely and respectfully, but that was not the case for everybody, unfortunately.
yeah. Of course. Uh, and you mentioning that, I don't know if I can do this, but I want to talk about a subject, about a topic that uh, we are in September, and you are
Mhm.
talking. You just talked about how we should learn how to treat people better, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And September is the I really wanna I really wanna get to this before we keep going.
Mhm.
September is Suicide Prevention Month, and I really think it's important for us to mention that, because anyone who's hearing us and who will be hearing us, they might be in a situation where things aren't good, and we need to talk about that in society. We need to talk about that as a whole society and as human beings, because suicide prevention, it shouldn't be just September, but since we have this month to talk about that, and we lose over 800,000 people every year to suicide, and it that is the 10th biggest cause of death worldwide. So it's not something small or something irrelevant,
Mhm.
and it's something that I like to mention, because as an artist, I care a lot about the health, the mental health issues,
Mhm.
and I support that. So I just wanted to mention this and say that support saves lives, and we got to break the stigma, because having mental health issues doesn't make nobody weak,
Mhm.
and it doesn't mean that people are seeking for attention or something like that.
Yeah.
So if anyone just is not feeling it's not feeling well, or it's going through hard times or depression, just just look for someone, look for help, look for support in mental health, with mental health professionals, and things will be all right. Things will be fine. And this is a subject that we gotta discuss as a society, and it's a problem we gotta solve as a society. So I'm sorry for this, but I just it just came
I,
back to
I
my mind.
appreciate it.
I wanted to talk about that and to mention that, because to me it's very important. So yeah, man.
Yeah, no, there's definitely the idea that, a lot of times people think that they, if they're going through something that they just need to push their way through it on their own, and that's definitely not the case.
Yeah,
There's so many resources you can reach out to. Um, Not even just hotline. I mean, obviously you have the hotlines, but there's mental wellness, websites and things like that you can reach out to online, in person. There's a lot of resources, and it's important that people take advantage of those when they can, because it's very useful, and it's very important. Uh, you see it too often where uh, you know people make assumptions, of, oh, that person, this person seemed fine, and it, just out of nowhere, we never realized that they were actually, depressed, or they were going through anything at all. uh, it's important to, not only for individuals who are going through something, to reach out, but just in general, like keeping in touch with, friends and family and things like that too, just checking in on people. I know we had issues with that during COVID, of like family member. I'm talking from my personal perspective now, of just not being able
okay,
to see family members, be around them, and things like that. And so we had family members that were just on their own, for like 8 months, and that's not healthy to be on your own for that long.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, totally.
yeah, so it's just important to stay in contact with the people, your friends and family and everything like that. But
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for bringing it up, man. I appreciate that. That is an important thing to bring up.
no, no, I was just saying that you're right. Sometimes people don't realize that something is going on with
Hmm.
loved ones, but the signs, they exist, they are
Hmm.
there, but we don't see them. And sometimes when we see, it's too late. So it's a very complicated topic, and I think I think a lot of people might need help, but they don't know how to reach out. They don't know what to do, and they just keep going. They just keep it to themselves, you know.
Hmm.
So that's an issue, and as a society, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, no, thank you for bringing that up, and that is important. Yeah, like you said, there's definitely a stigma around it too, where people feel like it's embarrassing to seek help, and that shouldn't be the case. No one should ever feel embarrassed for reaching out for help.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, I'm hoping that it becomes less stigmatized, and more people become more open minded about it, in the future, as quickly as possible. Because, like I said, so often, especially with like young, not necessarily just children, but like younger people, they're trying to find their way in the world, and they cannot find a path for themselves. And if they're in, like, if kids in school that are getting bullied,
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that, they're just scared that if they reach out, they're going to get made fun of even more. And that's definitely not gonna that's not the case.
totally. And uh, I don't know, man. I think that we are we are getting sick as people, and not just physically but mentally. We're all getting sick because our society sometimes it pushes us too much. So you just talked about kids being bullied and things
Mm.
like that, and that is just one problem, because we have kids being bullied, and we have women losing their rights, and we have
Mhm.
racism against black people, and we have, all this stuff happening at the same time, and not to mention the competition that this capitalism system makes us live in. Like, we're all in a competition, and we want to
Mhm.
make more money, and we're all distant from each other. Like, this is not healthy for our
Yeah.
mental, this is not healthy for our emotions, and it getting us, it getting everyone sick, man. Like, not just physically, because I think that we lose the little fights, we lose the little battles, and then we start to lose the war against the situations. So I I just saw on the news a few days ago, uh, how the women rights are being treated in US, and I saw some decisions and things like that. Um, and it's really something that made me feel bad about it.
Mhm.
Uh, I went to look after I went to look up to that, and I just found out that the number of women dying during their pregnancy or during birth is raising, like, it's
Mhm.
raising a lot in the last years.
Yeah.
And we had, like, in US, we had, like, according to CDC, we had, like, 800, about 800 deaths in 2018 or 2019, and in 2021 we had more than 1,200. So we are talking about maternal mortality, and
Mhm.
women are dying. And when we look to the situation as a society, we see that, man, authorities and most people, they are not fighting for women's rights, they are fighting against their rights. So they fight against their rights. They say, no, you don't have control over your body, or uh, things like that. And we see these numbers growing, these terrible numbers growing in the last years. And it just makes me feel bad, because I want to see everybody having dignity and living with dignity anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter the country.
Mhm.
And when I read about this, I I found out that Hispanic and Black women, they die like 3 times more in the situations, uh, like during birth or after. So, man, that's just not that's horrible. And we gotta see each other as human beings, and we gotta stop the hate, and we gotta make way to love people, and to
Mhm.
fight for the right things, because I think everybody is being sick, and depression is part of this, because it's not a cause. It's in my opinion, it's a consequence of the way we live, of the lifestyle we've been uh, we've been introduced to, and we've been treating it like it's like that, it's the right way. And no, it's not. Everybody is getting sick, everybody's getting depressed, Black people are suffering, LGBT community is suffering. So how is that even right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think as human beings, we still have a lot to evolve. We still have a lot to develop, but I think the important thing is for us to talk about that, because if we don't talk about that, the the development will never happen. Like, it will always be a taboo or something. And I don't think we don't want that as a society. I think we just want everybody to live with dignity and be happy. Yeah, that
Yeah. I
that, that
think.
just
I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you off.
no, no. I just finished.
I was gonna say. I think a lot of people have the mindset of they don't want to fight for other people until it becomes a problem for them. It doesn't affect them, and so they just ignore it, and they ignore it, and they ignore it, and then it becomes a problem for them, and they wonder why nobody has done anything about it and how it's been allowed to happen. And I see that sort of thing happening now. Not that women haven't been fighting for their rights. I'm saying like this is, they're having their rights taken away. You know, people like, the LGBT community is having their rights taken away. Black people,
Yeah.
Hispanic people, like their rights are being taken away, and you have, this other class of like middle class white people, poor white people, whatever, who are just letting it happen because it doesn't affect them yet. You
Yeah,
know.
man. And I don't know, I don't know how it is in the US, but
Mhm.
here in my country, it's something very, very strange, very weird to me. And those middle class white people,
Mhm.
they, I don't know why, but they think they are in a elite or something. They
Mhm.
act like they were rich, but man, you're just like everybody. You're part of the population.
Yeah.
um and I don't know,
Does it
man.
have anything to do with like the news and like political, like I I can only speak for like my experience, but it seems like a lot of times like the people will say they'll be against something because they don't realize what it is, or they've been tricked by the politician they follow the most, or like the news channels that they follow the most, and they're almost tricked into giving away their rights thinking that it'll uh hurt the people they don't agree with, which to
Yeah,
me already seems like a problem. Like you shouldn't be trying to hurt people just because you disagree with them.
of course.
Uh, but that seems to be like a real motivating factor for a lot of what happens in politics in the US right now. Especially with like the LGBT community, LGBTQ plus, especially with like transgender, uh, rights and things like that. That is a huge talking point for a lot of people, where they are wildly against, transgender people in general. And so they do not care what happens in, that and abortion. They're two huge topics right now. Where these people don't care who it hurts. They just don't want, abortions allowed in there where they live. They don't want people to be able to be transgender where they live, and they don't care what happens. And now you see it in some of these states where they've banned, transgender, like gender affirming surgery, or the gender, what is it called? It's the medicine that suppresses like their puberty essentially, and abortion. They ban all these things, and because of the way the laws are made, people like doctors are quitting because they can't do their job without getting in trouble. And so now they have a lot of issues where hospitals don't have employees that they need. They don't have anyone there, so people are having to travel out of state just to have their children, because it's just too dangerous in their own states. But they don't realize that they're causing these problems for themselves by being hateful towards other people.
Of course. No, I totally agree with you. And man, uh these topics make me feel makes me feel bad because I have closed cases, and I know what people go through. I know how hard
Mhm.
it is to be yourself, and sometimes you don't even feel safe enough to be yourself in front of your family, in front of your own family.
Mhm.
So you you just gotta put yourself, trade shoes with the other person, and try to imagine what one's going through. But
Mhm.
uh man, I just think we need to change the mindset and the way we think, because when we look at the numbers, humanity is not doing well, and people are not doing well. And if if we have black people suffering, if we have LGBT plus community suffering, if we have women suffering, if we have global warming, we're doing something wrong, right? We can't be
Mhm.
doing it right, because if we were doing it right, things wouldn't be like this. And in my country, I I don't know, man. It's just that in here we had some crazy years. Uh, we the last 4 years from 2019 to 2022.
Mm.
They were uh, very heavy.
You
And
had, I think your, I forget his name. I don't follow it close enough. I apologize. Your president, I think, fled to Florida. I think after the election, didn't he?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was the end of the situation, because uh, he won the election in 2018, but during COVID, he was saying creepy stuff, and a journalist would get to him and say, "Mr. President, today our country got to 100K people dead by COVID," and he
Mm.
would and he would look to the journalist and say, "So what, man? What do you want me to do? You don't need to believe in me. Look it up on Google. Look it up on YouTube.
Right.
It's all over the media." He really said things like that. He was imitating people dying without air, breathless, and during COVID, right in front of the
Mhm.
camera. It's all recorded in video, and he would do that in front of journalists. So basically, it's obvious he lost the election in last year, 2022, and he didn't want to accept the results. So I think it's kind of similar to what happened in the
Yeah,
Capitol
I think he
attack.
got the idea from our president.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't accept the results. And in January this year, just Google with January 8th Brazil. You will see the pictures, you will see the videos. They try they tried a coup,
Mhm.
and it failed. Almost 2,000 people went to jail, but they destroyed buildings. And man, I don't know, those people, they went crazy, man. They were in front of headquarters from the army, with asking them to not let the man who won the election uh,
What is the current
take
guy's name? I can't remember his name.
the ex president.
No, the current one, the one that won the election.
The current one is Lula.
Lula. Okay,
And
that's what I thought. Okay,
yeah, and
because
people.
he was president before, wasn't he? Like a while
he,
back.
he was president in from 2002
Hmm.
to 2006, and then he won again, and he was president from 2006 to 2010.
Okay.
And then he had some problems and problems with the law. He
Okay.
went to jail.
A
And
politician having problems with the law. That's crazy.
right, and he went to jail. It was a very delicate process, because his lawyers were saying it was he was he was being, I don't know the word, man. He was being like, when you use the police to uh,
Oh, so they were kind of holding his life hostage in exchange for, money or something like that,
no, no,
blackmailing him.
he went
No.
to jail, but his process weren't 100% legal.
Oh, okay.
They were like making illegal proofs, and they weren't
Okay.
respecting his right to defend himself, things like that. So
Okay.
basically, they did it like that, and his process was turned off by the Supreme Court. Like, it doesn't exist no more, because it broke all the rules of the law in Brazil. So now he's just free, and he's president again, because
Mm.
the other one was completely mad. He was imitating people dying without air during COVID in front of the
Mm.
cameras, and he lost the election. So basically, what I'm saying is, we have problems in our society. Uh, I am not here standing for right or left. No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing it. I have my side. I have what I believe, and I think the I think what the extreme right is spreading around the world, anti-vax and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and flat Earth. You know, those people, they are
Yeah.
out of their minds. They're like back to the Stone Age. I say, man,
It's
do you even
it's
open a
wild how it
newspaper in the
works.
morning? I'm sorry.
I was saying it's wild how the information spreads. How
Yeah,
like
man.
flat Earth, for example, it seems like something that people would just laugh at and it'd go away. But instead, people latch onto it and it becomes like a popular thing to an
Yeah,
extent. I think part of it we've talked about on the show here before. I think part of it is people want to feel like they know something that other people don't know, and so they're part of like like a higher group of people, maybe, or something. Um, but then I think part of it too is just people just do not want to be educated very well. They will they'll block off outside information because they just refuse to believe anything other people tell them if they don't already believe it.
yeah, yeah. I think that might be true.
Mhm.
People, they want to know something, right, that
Mhm.
I don't know. They want to know the secret, right?
Yeah.
uh Man, of course there are things we don't know, but
Mhm.
that is definitely not the earth being flat. Okay, we we had telescopes and satellites.
You
They
just
took
go up on top of
pictures
a
of the
mountain. You
earth.
don't even need to go that high to prove
Yeah.
it's round.
No, I see it in Discovery Channel. They were like showing the earth, and those two guys, they were like,
Mhm.
hey, look, it's really in a ball shape. And I was like, oh, you swear it is?
Yeah.
And man, I don't know. I think we go from crazy things like the earth being flat to little things like not letting a gay couple get married.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying it's a little thing, but I'm saying when it's kind of different thing, because you look at the earth being flat, and I kind of feel bad for the person. I feel like, man, what year are you living in? What age
Yeah.
are you in? So basically, what I'm saying is, uh, we have we have we have to we are struggling these days to make real information get to the people, because
Mhm.
false information, fake news, and
It's profitable. Like people
it's
make so much money
profitable.
from fake
It's
information.
profitable, and the worst part, people believe it. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it can be the craziest thing. People will believe it.
Well, it's
Maybe
like
not all the
during
people,
COVID.
but a lot of people will.
Yeah, it's like during COVID, they said, don't get the vaccine. It's poison. It'll track you.
Yeah,
Whatever excuse they come up with. But what we have over here will protect you. So buy our product. And so they make money by scaring people into buying their product. It's yeah,
yeah.
it's terrible.
No, it's
It's really
completely.
disheartening.
And man, I think that we have ways to to make things get better,
Mhm.
and uh, going forward with our conversation. I think that one way is music, and I don't talk about politics in my music, to be honest.
Yeah.
uh, but I think it's a platform, and when you have a voice, you have to use it, and you got to say what you think, and you got to stand for something. And I always do it. I don't lie about who I am. So if
Mhm.
you go to my Instagram, you'll see what I stand for, and you won't see only music covers being posted. You won't see only music art and music videos, reels, and promotion about my songs. No, I also post about things I believe. I also post when things happen, and I say this is not cool. This is not okay. This is not being good for a lot of people. And I think music is a way, and music is a weapon also, not in the bad meaning of the word. Uh, music is a weapon for the good, and art is a weapon for the good, because not because what we say in the music, or not because what we say in a movie or in a theater, whatever, but because the platform it gives, that is a way for us to look up to really intelligent things, and not just uh, crazy theories about things that no one can prove,
Yeah.
and basically things that my 45 years old uncle would say during a barbecue. That's not the smartest thing one could say, but
Yeah.
uh, I want to learn. I want to learn what is right. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I think the art is a way for me to do that, and to reach people, and to talk about stuff that not always is directly related with art or with music, but that is important for me and for everybody else.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Before we continue, I do have to do the ad reads here real quick, but we'll get right back to the discussion here. Uh, First up, we have Liquid IV. Today's episode is brought to you by Liquid IV. Liquid IV is the category winning hydration brand fueling your well being now in sugar free flavors. So, as I say every week, and it remains true today, I work out every day and I like to stay hydrated. I don't like drinking a bunch of sugar or soda or anything like that. So I drink a bunch of water, and every once in a while, I just want some flavor added to it. So I get sugar-free liquid IV. Lately, we've been having the lemon lime flavor. We had white peach for a couple months there. We'll probably keep getting both of them at this point. But it's fantastic. It adds some flavor to the water, keeps me hydrated. Uh, Liquid IV has 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drinks, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness. It also hydrates 2 times faster than water alone. They added white peach, green grape, and lemon lime in the sugar free. So you can try those out. They're very good. I mean, I've tried the sugar versions as well, the versions with sugar. It's also excellent. We had the watermelon one and strawberry lemonade. So they're both very good. Uh, so yeah, I like that it hydrates me. I like that I can get sugar free in it, and it works really well. And I drink it literally every single day. Uh, 1 stick of liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. Contains 8 vitamins and nutrients for everyday wellness with 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks. It's non-GMO and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. Get 20% off when you grab Liquid IV Hydration Multiplier, sugar-free, or any other variant at liquidiv.com. That's liquidiv.com. And use code DJP15. Again, that's DJP, as in Digest Productions, 15 at checkout. It's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code DJP15 at liquidiv.com. Thank you so much to Liquid IV for sponsoring the episode. This episode is also brought to you by Zencastr. We use Zencastr for every episode to record. It's super easy, super convenient to use. Before we used Zencastr, we were bouncing around from platform to platform, trying to find one that would make it easy for us to record and get all the guests in. And we were having such a hard time. And then I found Zencastr, and we've been using it ever since. It's been fantastic. I just send the link out to the guests. They click on it, enter a display name, and we're good to go. Everyone's audio tracks are separate. When we do video podcasts, all the videos are separate as well. It is so nice, so easy to use. Can't recommend it enough. It, like I said, it's the best platform I've used for podcasting. It's so easy. It's to use and record a podcast with Zencastr. You log in using your browser and start recording a high quality podcast right away. Record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. You can relax knowing that Zencaster's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. So if it sounds kind of robotic and the audio is not quite there, it's breaking up a bit, you don't have to worry, because when you go to edit the audio, the recording is perfectly fine because it records locally and then uploads to the cloud. So the audio is never going to get interrupted or distorted over the connection of the internet. So that is a wonderful feature. Uh, if you've ever thought about podcasting before and realized that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencaster's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and all the other major destinations. If you go to zencaster.com/pricing and use my code DJP15, again, that's Zencaster, ZENCASTR.com/pricing. Use code DJP15. You'll actually get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experience as I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Go to zencaster.com/pricing, use code DJP15, and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. Can't recommend Zencaster enough. Like I said, we use them every single episode. They're just hands down the best platform to use. It makes it so unbelievably easy. Links will be in the description. Thank you for both of them for sponsoring the show. Back to the actual content. Yeah, you were saying about using music to learn and kind of grow. What, as far as the growing aspect of that, from a musical standpoint, what have been some of the challenges you've faced when learning how to create music and, produce it and things of that nature?
So my challenges, they are different. I mean, I have a challenge, and when I overcome it, there is a new one. So at first, when I was in the beginning, my biggest challenge was to create music and to get it done as I envisioned it to be.
Mhm.
So I wanted my music to sound in a certain way, and it was very, very hard for me to make it sound that way. Uh, and I wanted to have a certain quality, and it was very hard for me to get that quality I wanted. So it took me a while before I could get my songs to the my music to
Mhm.
the level it is nowadays. But when I finally got to that point that I would look at my songs and say, this is exactly what I wanted to do. This sounds exactly as I wanted it to. And I got to new challenges. I had challenges in my socials. I have challenges in reaching new publics and all that stuff that all the other artists are going through with their art. But it's one thing at a time. So right now, I'm focusing on perfecting my stuff,
Mhm.
and because it already sounds how I want it to. And when I think about a song in my head and I'm like, I want to create something like this with this vibe about this topic, I just know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, for example, talking about Dark Desires,
Mhm.
when I thought about creating Dark Desires, I knew what I wanted to. I wanted to create a huge album, and Dark Desires is huge. And I'm saying not just about quality and stuff. It's really a big album. I got 21 tracks. It's 70 minutes plus length, and we got a
Mhm.
deluxe version and all that stuff. The quality is amazing. I don't even have to say, it's very, very, very superior comparing to my last two albums. And I got to say, my last two albums, they did okay. I dropped both of them this year,
Mhm.
and the first one was in January. It's named "If the Devil's Hiring, Tell Him I'm Unemployed," and the second one is "Care for You." And my first album reached 10K streams only in Spotify. um Care for You is almost at 20K streams only at
Nice.
Spotify. And I think that, I know that's not like 1 million, 2 million, but it's something
Mm,
because it means that people are listening. So from from that point, I just realized that one album was very different from the other. They had different vibes. They have different flows, different beats, different, it was all different from each other. And when I envisioned Dark Desires, I was like, um, I want an album that has a dark but smooth aura,
mhm,
and I wanted to give sexual tensions. So I talk about relationships and stuff, and different kinds of and relationships, and it's basically about sex. And it came out to be a great album. I got myself astonished when I heard the full thing, and like the art cover, everything that's going around it. And I think that is something I don't know I was talking about. You asked me about the development with music and stuff. So doing this, uh, investing in that artistic part of me, and making it real, it's something that makes me better as a person somehow. I don't know how to
mm,
explain how I become better, but I feel like I do. I feel like I'm different because uh, every time I create my art, I find things about myself that I didn't know. So Dark Desires is an album that has a very dark aura about sex and about different kinds of relationships, mainly those topics, but not only those. And I'm
mm,
pretty sure that when I make the next album after Dark Desires, it will be completely different from Dark Desires. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always changing. I'm always finding new things, and I'm always being different than I was. And if I come to understand that, I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but if I come to understand that, I can also develop myself as a person and as a human being. And that is part of the process of being being better as a person. I'm not saying being smarter or being superior to anyone. No, I'm just saying being better than myself, being better
mhm.
than I was. So I think that that's not the only way, but that is a way that the art and the music and all the arts, they can help people develop themselves.
Yeah, it is. It, like you said, you mentioned it. It's interesting watching how people evolve when they're working on one project to the next, and seeing how different they can become over time, and how they grow as people, uh, based on like what it is their music is about and things like that. I mean, you look at a lot of popular art. I mean, I don't like using Kanye West as an example a lot of the times. He, but you can see it like in his early albums. Going from uh, college dropout, late registration. There's a slight mood shift, but they're somewhat similar. You get to graduation, and it's a bit different. There's a lot more uh, like electronic elements in there, auto
Yeah,
tune. Then what was it? 808s and Heartbreak. It's a completely different album from the
yeah,
previous three. And I think after 808s and Heartbreak was My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I think was the next one, and that's again wildly different than all the previous ones. And that was my favorite one. I think growing up, I really liked that album. Um, And then I'm not as I have listened to like his other albums, but they were not. They didn't connect with me as much as the other ones. Um, and then on top of that, obviously he's had a lot of issues personally and publicly, to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
Um, but like I said, you can see like how these artists change. One as they get older, and two is like they're creating different music and trying to explore different sounds and just come up with something new. Because I think it's very easy to get stuck making the same music over and over and over again, or not even music related. It's very easy to just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again because you get comfortable doing it. You know, you're not worried about it getting messed up because you're so used to doing it. I think that's part of what makes creating content fun is trying to learn new things and do different things and do, be different and just educate yourself on things like that.
yeah. I agree with you, and it's a risk.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. There's always that chance you're going to try something new and it just doesn't work at all. And I mean, I've had that happen plenty of times. Uh, but I feel like it's almost always worth doing, just because you get that experience. If you're always doing the same thing, you're not learning anything new. You're not gaining different experiences. I mean, I had that exact experience with my current job. I had a very nice, I mean, my last job, I was making very good money. I was, you know, in a very comfortable position. I was never at risk of losing the job or anything like that. And, it was easy. It was pretty easy. But I was very, very bored. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I didn't enjoy what I did. And so you know, I took the new job that I'm in now and I don't make as much money. So I've been doing stuff on the side to make up for that, different freelance stuff. But it, I wanted to learn how to do different things and improve myself and, provide myself with the opportunity to grow as a person so that in the future I'll have all of these extra skills and experiences that I can rely on to continue to keep moving forward. There's a lot of people in my life that do not do that for sure, where they're very much happy just staying at their job and saying, "Oh, I'm comfortable, I'm safe, I don't want to change." Um,
Yeah,
it's an interesting dynamic to see how people do different things.
yeah. I think, man, that we need to be happy. We need to
Mhm.
feel uh we need to feel that we're making ourselves happy the way we deserve to be,
Mhm.
and there is no problem in people that are comfortable in 9 to 5s. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Mhm.
I i think that, are you really happy with your 9 to 5?
Mhm.
Because the system, in this system, we are just living in the automatic mode, like automatic pilot, and we don't take a time to reflect about our lives and how we are feeling about ourselves, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So sometimes we are not even happy, but we are just going on and on and on every day, and we work all day, we get back home, we watch something on TV, and we fall asleep, and
Right.
there's the alarm in the morning, and you go back to work. And
Mhm.
look, if you're happy doing that, it's okay. But if you're not happy with that, you need to reflect about it, right? And
Don't. Yeah, I was gonna
I,
say, don't get me wrong. I understand why people don't do what I did and just change jobs suddenly. Because I can totally understand why people would be scared by that. They're worried, like, what if it doesn't work out? Now I'm at a place that's worse. I'm even less happy, whatever. Like, I get why people wouldn't do it. Uh, at the same time, if you're able to like take a risk and try something new and it'll benefit you, I think it's worth going for.
yeah, man. I think as human beings, it's normal to be afraid of uncertainty
And change.
and change, and sometimes we don't want to go into those lands. We just want to
Hmm.
stay where we feel safe. And uh I think we always have to we always have to break through and to face the change, because we can't be safe in our own zone forever, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like at at, at best, at best, if nothing goes wrong in one's life, we're gonna face death one day. So that will be a big change for us,
Yeah.
and we won't be able to run from it. So I think that uh, everyone is different, and everyone has a different way to understand and to process how things happen. But I think that we all need to face things that makes us uncomfortable,
Hmm.
because sometimes uncomfortable things will happen, and it doesn't matter if we want it or not, so we better be ready for it.
Hmm.
And I think it's very good to change. And art is very challenging, and it makes us change. Some people change for good, some people change for bad, but I think that we need to understand what we want, and we need to be clear in our minds, like, I want this
Hmm.
because this is gonna make me happy, and I'm gonna live for that. Because I don't think that we get happy from money. I'm not saying that money is bad, but it's not the only thing that matters, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
um and we gotta sort it out. Think about all the areas in our lives, not only the financial area, also the financial area, but not only that, we have other things to consider. We have relationships, we have to take care of our health. And I don't know if you believe in something or not, but a lot of people also think that it's good to take care of our spirituality. So uh, if we focus only in one thing, what's going to
Hmm.
happen with the other areas of our lives? And I think that's important for us, and it's also part of the process. By the way, man, I'm proud of what you did, and I'm happy that you're happy now. I'm glad that you're happy now, and I wish you all the success in what you choose to do.
Hmm. Yeah. Like I said, in my personal experience, it's just I don't want to settle. I don't want to
Yeah,
just feel like I'm stuck doing something just because it's safe. Uh, I I think there's a fine line between doing some like taking a chance and trying to be happy and being stupid. Like there's
yeah,
definitely scenarios in which
I
you're
agree.
taking a risk where you don't have to. And I know people
Exactly.
definitely do that, but uh, like there are tons of people. Like I'll use social media for example. You see it fairly often where people quit their jobs and try and become famous on Twitch or YouTube. I would not recommend just quitting your job and going for that. It's not a recipe for success. But if you're in a position where you already have some success doing something, then yeah, go. You can try it, but I wouldn't put yourself in harm's way on a chance necessarily. But
Yeah, of
like you
course.
said, it's definitely important to try and be happy if you can. Like if you're not happy somewhere, it's not worth it, regardless of how like well off, like comfortable and safe you are. If you're not happy, it's not going to be worth it. You got to find something that makes you happy.
Yeah, and time flies, man. If you're
Yeah.
not happy, you won't have you won't have all the time in the world. So
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't want you to dox yourself or anything, but like I know for me, like I'm 29, I'll be 30 in February. I the reason I one of the reasons I took this job was I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, I am At the time, I was 28. I was like, I'm getting closer to 30, and I'm not where I want to be. I'm like, I need to change this. Uh, I don't want to be 30, 35 years old, 40 years old, and be like, oh, my life is half over, and I am not even close to where I want to be. I The sooner you start working towards where you want to be, the better. Because the longer you wait, the more likely it is you're gonna, not make those decisions to go forward. I think.
I agree with that. I agree with you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I've expended my topic list. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to touch on here before we wrap. We're a little over an hour.
No, I don't know if I can. Can I say my socials in here?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you before we wrapped. Yeah, where can people go to check out all your stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I'm on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at FPN Norway, and I'm also on X, and you can find me there at I am FPN Norway. You type all together, no punctuation. It's just I'm using only those two socials so far, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm on Instagram at FPN Norway, and I'm on X at I am FPN Norway.
Nice. And links will be in the description as well, so you guys can click through, check it all out. You can go check out deadjesterproductions.live. It's our website. It's got links to all of our stuff on there. Nice, clean, refreshed website, brand new. And go check out Liquid IV and Zencaster. Use code DJP15. Get discounts on both of those. Can't thank them enough for sponsoring the show. And thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I'm really glad we got to have this chat and talk about the things we talked about. It was a fun time.
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, man. And thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you next time.